Hello, welcome to the Roundtable here on OGTV. My name is Morani KJ Shobaleju. Infrastructure is often regarded as the backbone of economic growth, from roads and railways to power, housing, seaports, and healthcare facilities. The quality of a nation's infrastructure speaks volumes about, its commitment to development. And since assuming office, the current president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has unveiled and continued to, several infrastructure projects across the country, while supporters describe the effort of Mr. President as bold and transformative. Critics argue that Nigerians are yet to fully feel the impact amid prevailing economic challenges. So are these projects laying the foundation for long-term prosperity, or there are gaps, that must still be addressed? That is why today we are looking at this critical topic, and of course to help us access the Tinubu administration's infrastructure development drive. I'm joined in the studio by a lecturer, Mr. Adefemi Olufemi Oshun, who is a lecturer, a public commentator, and of course a stakeholder in the subject matter. And this topic cannot be discussed in abstract without having a politician joining us also in the conversation. So, Mr. Olufemi Oshun, I want to welcome you to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being part of it. Yes, I also have Alhaji Fatai Adebimpe, who is also a politician. Thank you, Alhaji.
Thanks so much for having me.
Nice having you on the conversation this morning. Like I said, we're looking at the infrastructure drive of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I want to start from you. Nearly 3 years into office now as a politician, President Tinubu administrations, how would you, access his infrastructure drive?
Well, thanks so much for having me. I would like to thank Nigerians, at least for the support they have been giving this government, the government of All Progressive Congress. I would say that it is not easy to start from an area whereby you have a lot of challenges on ground. And I can say that the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has actually taken the bull from the horn by making sure that a lot of infrastructural projects is being embarked on, for the betterment of Nigerians. At least you can see it from the aspect of the road, to the rail infrastructure, to ports, seaport, and what have you. So I believe that is a good starting point for us, at least to get the real foundation for our country to be a great one.
Okay, in all of this, yes, we agree that Mr. President is doing all that he can to ensure that Nigeria is developed infrastructurally. So which of these infrastructure projects do you consider, meeting that you think the most appropriate, that is actually, impactful, that is getting to the, the lowest of the lowest masses? Because the essence of infrastructure is just to ensure that its impact is felt across board. So which of the infrastructure drive of Mr. President do you think is actually meeting, the yearnings of the entire citizenry?
Well, what I will say in this aspect is that we have the short term and we have the long term. Are you getting me? Benefit of some of those programs. And I can say that when you are building something, definitely it may not be an easy one for you feeling it immediately. Some of it can be the short term, some of it can be the long term. And I want to say that majority of these projects are long-term, infrastructural projects, which is going to be highly beneficial to the good people of Nigeria. If we are looking at the short term, vis-a-vis, we need to also look at the long-term aspect of this project. When you're talking about the road project actually affects each and every one of us, when we're talking about the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road, which also, passes through our dear local government, Ogun State. Looking at this project, at the end of the day, it's going to bring a lot of benefits. Part of the benefit is, the aspect of job creation, and also other benefits on the government side is going to improve revenue and what have you. Then when you look at the Sokoto Badagry superhighway, you will see that this also passed through one of our local government, which is Mekwafo. And this will be beneficial to Ogun State and the good people living around that place. Because definitely the social economic activities of that place is going to boom. So definitely it's going to reach, the ordinary masses in those areas. And by the time, all these infrastructural projects are being completed, it will be highly beneficial to all.
Okay, yes, you have nailed and confirmed that. Okay, presently you want to talk about the major road infrastructure being embarked by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led government. It's kind of a project that you can actually say it's of more benefit to the populace. Thank you so much. Yes, coming to you, Mr. Olufemi Oshu.
Yes.
You were a lecturer, of course, you're a stakeholder in the business and a public commentator. Let's look at the fact that Nigeria is, considering the growing population, we are of 200 million population. So in Nigeria, is Nigeria building enough, infrastructure to meet the demands of this growing population presently?
Oh. I wouldn't say outrightly yes we have.
Okay.
Because the truth of the matter is that we really don't have enough money. That's just the simple truth. Okay, our integrity. To meet our infrastructural needs.
Okay.
And there is no way between now and that time, considering our income, that we are going to meet that amount. Now, presently, our budget for 2026 is about 34 trillion naira. Okay, and I mean our income, total income, not the expenses. Expenses about 68 trillion naira. So there is still a deficit. So we are not even making enough money to meet the conservative budget that we have prepared. Conservative, I'll put that into perspective for you. We have a population, you said 200 million. This most conservative estimate says 230 million.
That's why I said growing population.
And we have other estimates that I haven't seen, we are 250 million. But let's even stop at about 245 million. Now, we have budgeted 68 trillion for 245 million. Out of that, our income is 34 trillion naira. Now, let's take a state like a city like New York in the US. 10 million population, their budget is 142 trillion in naira. So even that 68 trillion is even small, but that's the best we can do, considering our income. So are we building enough infrastructure in terms of what we need?
To meet up the
No.
demand? No.
But in terms of the resources at our disposal,
Yes.
I think the president is doing a good job. Okay, with more money, they can pay better wages. So people's lives are getting better. With more money, they can build more factories, employ more people. So you see, infrastructure affect the city dwellers, affect the people in the rural areas also.
Okay, like my question says here that infrastructure development, no doubt, is good.
Okay.
But when you look at the reality of the present reality, talking about the economic hardship and the likes, are you not thinking that maybe government is concentrating too much on maybe developing infrastructure and not paying attention, kind of holistic approach to making sure that the lives of the citizenry is kind of a better economically in terms of, maybe like the wife of Mr. President said recently that they have continued to do a lot of empowerment where we begin to have the
Yakara grants.
That situation that gave Madam Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the name Iyalakara, where the husband was also, Mr. President was also referring to her, saying, my darling wife, Iyalakara.
Yeah,
so the thing is government also looking in this direction, really, to ensure that, yes, infrastructure for long-term reasons, for long-term benefit is still there, talking about road, easy access, people can connect, move from one place to the other, making lives easy and all of that, transporting goods. But talking about, people, the livelihoods of the citizenry, is government, like, if you want to look at it, is government not paying too much attention to infrastructure development drive?
Let me quickly,
forgetting that is kind of overshadowed.
It will look like that, okay? But at the end of the day, you are not going to get anywhere without a properly infrastructured society, okay? Now, if you are looking at the people's day-to-day life, okay, yeah, there is hardship.
There is.
Okay, we cannot deny that. But it's inescapable, given where we found ourselves at the time this administration took over. The hardship came about with the floating of the naira. Not as if we didn't have hardship before. We had hardship, but it got worse with the floating of the naira, the removal of subsidy on petroleum products. And that drove up inflation, eroded people's, people's income and all that. But how do we get out of here? What do you want government to do? Start giving money, depositing bags of rice and gari at people's doorstep every other day? That's not going to work. What the government needs to do is to empower people, are you with me, to be able to eke out a decent living by themselves. And you can't do this outside of infrastructure. Now, interestingly, on that very day that Senator Tinubu talked about the Akara grant, that very same day, okay, government gave some Nigerians, I think, was it about 50 or so million to students that had good startup ideas. I think about 30 of them. That very same day. Nobody spoke about that. I'm getting somewhere. But the point is this. A few days later, the National Sovereign Investment Fund also gave about $50,000 or so to some other startups. Nobody spoke about those. But here's the thing. No matter what, there are a lot of also programs like that. Incubation, training, granting. But no matter how much you do this, if you don't have good infrastructure, we're still going to continue, in this, how do you call it, merry-go-round of poverty. Because it's ease of doing business. Okay? When you talk about infrastructure, you're also talking about access to health. All right? We're talking about telecommunication, IT infrastructure. Well, we have one of the best payment systems, banking payment systems in the world anyway as of today. But it can also get better. So if we don't do this, it's a long walk.
Yes, you're talking about what the government have been doing in terms of, kind of finding so-called to the lives of people. After the removal of subsidy, people are beginning to have it very, very hard economically. And when we come to when First Lady said, the Akara empowerment and all of that, it sounds like the First Lady was kind of electrifying poverty, as it were, because when you're encouraging people to, okay, how much will it cost you to start a Akara business? You're telling them to just still remain, poor and manage with the little. How can Akara sellers survive, sending children to school?
Oh, they do survive selling children.
Just hold it there.
All right.
I'm coming back to talk more.
Okay.
Yes, I want to go back to our politician in the House. Let's talk about performance and impact of this administration in the area of infrastructure. Many road and rail projects have been commissioned and are ongoing. So are Nigerians already benefiting? If you want to look at it, take a kind of, how do I call it? Opinion poll. Yes, you are closer to the people as a politician. You discuss with people. So do you think presently, commission projects or the ongoing projects, can you say categorically that people are actually benefiting directly now?
Well, thanks so much for that question. I would say that people are already benefiting.
But don't you think it's a long-term investment that, we're actually going to have the gains? We are not feeling it, but maybe the gains in the future.
We are feeling it, but really based on the way, one is seeing it. Are you getting me? Like if we are talking about the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road, which the completion, around Ogun State, which is Ogun Waterside, is about 60%. Definitely people there, are you getting me, will not deny the fact that they are feeling the impact. But when you're now talking to people far away from that local government, they may not. Are you getting me? But what I'm going to say is that, like I, said initially, that the impact of most of these critical infrastructural projects, some of it may be long term, and some may be, short time and immediately. But I would like to appeal to Nigerians. Where we find ourselves, like my brother said initially, is a very pathetic situation. And if we actually want to get out of this problem, and we want to think about the next generation, definitely we need to see this as what we need to do right now, so that tomorrow we'll not regret not doing it. So basically, like you made mention of the Akara stop mentioned by Her Excellency, I want to say that when you go to the rural area, like I came, from a rural local government, which is Odeta local government, I want to tell you that giving some people 50,000 naira, 100,000 naira, they can use it to change, their livelihood positively. But, a lot of grants are in place that people can access. However, there are some people inability to actually, ask questions, go to where they need to find out how can I benefit from this scheme, and so on and so forth. Goes a long way. You see, the most important thing is that when you have it within your mind that I want to progress in life, depending on you, the way you now approach it. So for our people, I can say that what the government is saying now, yes, part of it we may actually endure to ensure that tomorrow will benefit it.
The gain is very close by.
Very close by. So that's just the fact on that. Like the rail infrastructure that is ongoing, you can see definitely the rail will pass through some local governments. Now there will be ease, on the transportation when you're talking about the road aspect of it. And also, when you're talking about the solid minerals, is also there. The people in that area, today, Nigeria happens to be the largest lithium manufacturer in West Africa, if not even in Africa, because one was actually in Nasarawa State, another one in Zamfara State. When you look at it, a lot of people around that place is going to change the social economic, aspect of their life. Now, formally, it's not as if we didn't have the solid minerals, or some people are not benefiting, some few people are not benefiting it. This is an investment of nothing less than $800 million. And when you look at it, it has changed the revenue of the government from 6 billion to 68 billion. When you look at it, definitely the change from the local people and what have you is going to improve the socioeconomic development of that area and that of the country. Now we are moving from what I can call the consumption, nation to a producing nation. And by the time you will see this gain, it will take some time. I want to appeal again to Nigerians, let us try as much as possible to endure with this government, and we'll get there.
You are still going to do more of appeal to Nigerians. Yes, before we went for that, with I guess, Mr. Alhaji Fatai, I was talking about the fact that I engaged in conversation with someone. So we're actually talking about it was the day. Okay, yes, I'll come back to that. Okay. We'll quickly take this short break, and when we return, the program continues. It's still Roundtable on OGTV. Stay with us.
Fellow Nigerians, do you know that constituency projects are government? Do you know that you can track release of constituency project funds for projects located in your constituency and follow up to know how they have been executed? Constituency projects happen because government does not want to leave any community out in development efforts. You have a responsibility to know what constituency project has been planned for your community, how much has been allocated for it, and whether value for money has been delivered. Take ownership of constituency projects located in your community. Protect them because they belong to you. Government knows about your needs and is planning for you. Government needs your help to ensure quality delivery. Know that constituency projects are actually your projects. Protect your constituency project. My constituency, my project.
For information on funds allocated to projects in your constituency, call 0800-2255-4272.
This message is from the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the National Orientation Agency.
Glad to have you join us again from that short break. It's still Roundtable on OGTV, and we're looking at accessing the infrastructure drive of President Bola Tinubu. And I've had with me in the studio a politician and also a lecturer who is also a public commentator. That's Mr. Olufemi Osho, and the politician, Mr. Alhaji Fatai Adebimpe. We've been looking at Tinubu's infrastructure development drive in Nigeria, and we've asked questions and answers have been provided. Yes, before we went for that short break, we were talking about the issue of people. I engaged in conversation with someone over the weekend. Okay, I think some days back when Her Excellency said, how much will it cost, in that interview where he said, how much will it cost anybody to start Akara business and all of that. And that person was of the opinion that, okay, fine, it is good, but the government can still do better in terms of how you empower people. You know, telling people that, okay, Akara business will not just cost much, how much will it take you? It means you want them to still, according to the person, that opinion, that you want them to still remain that poor, because these are policies of government that should get to the poor of the poorest masses. But if you are now limiting them to, what can 50,000 naira do these days? Fine, it will help a business that is already existing, but then, you know, it's so small. So the person was like, government can still do more. That was why I said, I'm still coming back to you. Okay. I had a conversation with someone, and it looks like maybe Your Excellency is kind of, you know, saying poverty and all of that. But back to the topic of discussion. You know, let's look at funding and accountability in the area of infrastructure.
Quickly. Let's talk about that Akara thing very quickly. You see, the first thing that we need to put on the table is that this is a First Lady's program. It's not a government program. It's our own personal program channeled through our NGO, the New Era Foundation. Okay? And that foundation is funded by individuals and entities that believe she can do a better job of pursuing that charity. So we need to make that separation. It's not government's program. That is one. Number two, the truth of the matter is, I told you about certain grants. There are a lot of programs that government have going on to empower people.
But people are not aware.
Well,
maybe the awareness is what is making it look like.
Maybe they need to do more. Yes. But you see, unfortunately also, I told you that very same way that she spoke about the Akara thing. About 30 students from 300 level upwards got grant of about 50 million for their startups. Did you hear much about it? So there's also a problem, an attitudinal problem of our people. We are negatively biased. We tend to focus on what is negative. So
even if something is good, it's still big.
It's still coming. Now, so that, but now let's look at that. There are a lot of government programs. I can give you a list if I have my phone in. Let's quickly look at that Akara. You have a single mother somewhere, 35 years old. No education, no skill. She has 2 kids. The husband is not the father, nowhere to be found. Are you going to make her CEO of NPC, Nigerian Ports Authority? Are you going to give her 10 million grants? But she must survive. She must eat immediately. Or you're going to consign her to making calls for urgent 2 calls every time? What do you you must meet some people at where they are and expect them to grow from there.
Of course, you're very right, really. And for Her Excellency, she said she's not stopping anytime soon. So she's continuing to empower people as much as she can. So we want to appreciate her for doing that. So let's not deviate from the topic of discussion.
So sorry about that.
Now, accessing Tinubu's infrastructure development. Funding and accountability now is what I want to talk about. You know, infrastructure requires huge commitment, financial commitment, and that. So in the current borrowing strategy of government, do you think is justifiable kind of? Because, you know, government keeps borrowing, and we are aware that if not for a reason, no government will actually borrow. So it's either for, you know, the development of infrastructure or, you know, taking care of financial needs of the country. So do you think at the moment, considering the requirement of all this infrastructure and all of that, each financial requirement, do you think at the moment the borrowing is justifiable so far with the availability of the infrastructure and you know, facilities available?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, is the borrowing justified? Decide for yourself. Okay, we need infrastructure to grow. We need infrastructure to have a society where the average person, so when we talk about development, just the ability of the average person to be able to provide health, feeding, housing, education for themselves and their families without constant struggle. So we need infrastructure to move our society to that particular level. Now we have a gross infrastructural deficit. We don't have enough money. Look at the example I give about the 2026 budget. Our whole income 36 trillion naira for 250 million people. Expenditure 68 trillion naira. So we are not making enough money to meet our conservative expenditure. So that's no way we are not going to borrow. You see, there's a general misconception. People think government borrowing just like, Alhaji Fatai, in the beginning of the month, he has his salary, assuming it's a salary, okay, and by the 28th, he has finished his salary, and he says, let me call Alhaji Tamo, and let him borrow me some money. Government borrowing is not like that, okay? All money that the government will borrow is listed in the budget already, in the approved budgets, like the example I gave of the 2026 budget. Okay, the expenditure 68, income 34. The deficit we borrow to cover it. There's nothing we're going to do. It's already approved, and the projects and whatever they are tied to is already listed in the budget also. So it is law. Are you with me?
Yes.
It is law. What we don't know at that point is where we're going to get the money and the terms. And that is why when the presidency secures a part of the loan, we'll have to bring it to the Senate. The Senate will look at it, are these terms okay for this country? If they are not, they may reject it. If they are okay with it, they approve it. So that is what goes on. So is it justified? You decide yourself. We have things we need to do. So we don't have enough money to do it, and we must do it, meet immediate expenses, and then project for the future.
And so far, the question is, all the infrastructures, spread across the country, is it measuring?
Is it measuring up? I can't sit here and answer that question, okay? Because if I said that I've traveled all over the country to see the work that has been done, I'll be lying to you. But we see things.
What we can see and
we
what
see,
we hear.
Yeah, we see videos, people, not politicians, citizens, making videos on TikTok, saying, 2023, I didn't vote for Tinubu, I'm going to vote for him this time around, see this one. We see all that going on, okay? The people that have the oversight function, they are the National Assembly. Okay, it's not me in my classroom, but from what people are saying, from the feedback we are receiving, there seems to be something going on.
You can still say on the aggregate of say 70-80% of measuring up.
I wouldn't be able to give those numbers.
Okay.
I'm not equipped to give those numbers.
Okay.
Well, you asked the question that is it justifiable? Well, I would say that by the time we need not to be sentimental, and we need to help our country. The way you portray your country is the way people is going to see your country. Again, I want to say, when it comes to the funding, the World Bank, before they give out loan, there's requirements. If you didn't meet up with the requirements, definitely the loan will not be given. And of recent, we can see that the World Bank is saying that Nigeria is not out of place when it comes to the borrowing aspect of it. The prayer is that by the time, all these projects, are being completed, at least all of us will see it, and also the dividends of democracy that is going to bring. So the funding aspect, when people are saying that it's not justifiable, this and that, and you want to increase, the deficits in the aspect of the infrastructure, there's no how you can do that without, borrowing. Like in the aspect of power, you can see that there is a lot of challenges in power. Now, the federal government has actually paid 3.3 trillion naira to make sure that, yes, the debt are being cleared. And if the debt are being cleared, you will see new investors that are willing to come with their expertise. Are you getting me? To make sure that the power sector, gets stabilized in the country. And by the time the power sector gets stabilized, definitely
the economy will improve.
The economy will improve. But in a situation we're saying that, you should not borrow, what we need to ask is that, why are you borrowing? Is it justifiable or not? If the stuff is justifiable, then whatever we're talking about will be secondary. But like you said, we need to be very, very objective in whatever we're doing. Not that, my country is not good because there's no light. The light aspect, are you getting me? When you go to some states, you realize that it is highly stable. Yes. In the northern part of the country, have been there. The road infrastructure, I've seen a lot. The housing aspect of it, I've seen a lot. Because I travel, at times I will go by road just to see that what exactly is happening in our country. There is no country without his or our own challenges, shortcomings. But the way we outblow ours, is the area of problem.
Yes.
And I want to once again appeal to Nigeria, please and please, let us portray our country in a very good manner.
Positive manner, yes.
Yes.
So the same
Thank
way
you.
will see us. Okay, now to this my next question, talking about from political perspective now. Some believe that the projects of Mr. President are concentrated on politically strategic regions. When you look at Calabar to Badagry, Kano to Badagry, and Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. These are roads from southwest to linking the part of south and Kano from I think north to
Sokoto, Badagry,
yes, and all of these roads. So the belief is maybe
Calabar, Sokoto.
Okay. So the belief is that these are strategically positioned infrastructure, maybe for political reasons. So I want to ask, as a politician, do you agree with this, or projects fairly distributed across? Because if you look at it, really, we have some falling. I do not know what is happening in Ebonyi or Anambra, all that. I have not been there. I cannot say how the roads connect in those axes. But when you look at the major project of Mr. President, some are saying that these are politically strategic regions. So will you also look at it that way, Alhaji Fatai?
No, I will not look it, from that perspective. Because when you look at it, okay, let's even go to the area of health. Just of recent, the cancer facility was actually distributed across the 6 geopolitical zones. And when you're talking about this road, like when you're talking about the Port Harcourt, Calabar, Maiduguri, are you getting me? You will see that it's not as if Mr. President is targeting, for political reasons. However, it's a continuous process. When we have 6 geopolitical zones, and these 6 geopolitical zones, the way the infrastructure is being, distributed is for the benefit of Nigerians. If some areas are yet to benefit in one area, doesn't mean that they are not benefiting in another area. Like when I was checking, the area of health where Mr. President tried to, provide the cancer stuff, I can see that the Southwest is yet to be considered. But because our people want to take what is not out of, take something out of nothing, you realize that they now say that, Mr. President is not constituting our area, is biased, this and that. However, the fact remains that if out of the 6 geopolitical zones, 3 is being considered, maybe because of financing, definitely the remaining 3 will be considered after that. So it is not as if Mr. President is being biased. I believe that at the end of the day, we all see that what he's doing is for the betterment, because you cannot say that, okay, Southwest, North, South, or what have you, and others are not part of Nigeria. We are still talking about the same Nigeria. And I believe that God will help, Mr. President in reaching out to other zones that, you know,
that needs that attention.
That need that attention.
And the infrastructure development.
Thank you.
Okay, because we have been talking about infrastructure. Fine, infrastructure is not only about the road infrastructure.
Not just physical things.
Yes. We've been talking about the rail infrastructure and all of that. These are means of transportation in terms of infrastructure. But let's look at housing development. It falls, under infrastructure. Let's look at health infrastructure. How do you, access this administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Well, now, if we talk about health, see, the first thing that we need to be aware of is that really, predominantly, health is a state issue. It's on the concurrent list. Okay, unless we want to deceive ourselves, there is very little a man in Abuja can do concerning health in my village in Ijebu-Mushi. There is very little. But I have a local government chairman, I have a state governor. These are people that are close to me. Are you following me? So if we are talking about health, if we are even talking about education, we should be calling more the state governments and the local governments, okay? But that said, now we have a government that came in, reduced dialysis, subsidized dialysis. Because when people talk that there is no subsidy in Nigeria again, I said there is subsidy, but every country must decide what they want to subsidize. Okay, we have found out that subsidizing petroleum products is a big waste and is not sustainable. We have removed that subsidy. We are still subsidizing so many things in Nigeria. Education is highly subsidized, whether you like it or not. I have a friend in the US that has a daughter in medical school. By the time you know how much is paying in dollars, what you pay for one semester in dollars is more than enough that a medical student will use throughout to get his medical qualification. Far more than enough. That's just for one semester. So where's the balance coming from? Government subsidy. Yeah, the educational system is underfunded. We know that. I'm a part of that system. I know. But there's still government subsidy going on there. Okay? Now, we have a government that says, okay, dialysis, 50,000 per session before. Let's subsidize it and put it at 12,000. Okay? We have a government that says, okay, we need more federal medical centers across the states. And contracts have been awarded, constructions are going on. So, federal government intervention is going on in the health sector. But the reality still remains, we need to stop deceiving ourselves. We are a poor country.
We are a poor country.
We are a poor country. We look at our income, we look at the population. You see, we have still not come out of the 70s, where our population was less than 70 million, and we're earning so much.
And so the same that was then is now, we are applying same for a 200 million population.
So our income has just marginally gone up, and we are 250 million. But we have refused to come out of that 70s, 80s mentality. So we look at our income, side by side by our population, we are a poor country. Let's stop deceiving ourselves.
Thank you so much for that, your submission. Yes, it's still Roundtable on OGTV, in case you're just tuning in your television station to OGTV. Yes, we can take one or two calls. Yes, you can be part of the conversation. We're accessing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's infrastructure development in Nigeria, and we want to hear from you your own opinion, how the policies of government is getting to the poor of the poorest masses. Are you also a direct benefit? Do you have something that you want to chip in, or is there any way you think Mr. President should do better? Yes, you can put a call through. Maybe we'll take one or two calls when the phone lines are displayed on the screen. Yes, Alhaji Fatai, we have said a lot about what the development has been, and the accolades have been sent to Mr. President on how far he has taken the country in terms of development drive. But looking ahead of the 2027 election, will infrastructure be one of the administration's strongest selling points? Because we are approaching another election cycle, and we are beginning to see all these permutations ongoing. Just recently, Mr. President disclosed that he's going to be the current Vice President Shetima. So he unveiled that he's also his running mates coming 2027. So a lot has been going in that respect. So I want to ask that currently, will infrastructure drive of President Tinubu be a kind of strong selling point coming 2027, considering the number of contenders he will be having in the election?
Well, I would say that Mr. President has a very good chance in winning the next election. When we are talking about the infrastructural, development, like my dear brother said, in aspect of health, we also have education, which actually concern the students and the parents. And you see that the NEL fund, which is the loan whereby an undergraduate, is given the opportunity to get loan until when that person gets job, then that's when it's going to be paid. I can tell you with the permutation, you see the northerners, forget about the, not a kind of noise, are you getting me? The way, each and every one of us express is our own way on the social media. But I can tell you that politics is not about social media. It's a strategic thing whereby each state will sit down, and don't forget that all the state governors actually, have a serious stake when it comes to who wins, election.
Thank you so much. You have made your point here. Of course, you've said that it's, with all that he has done, you can be rest assured that 2027 is secured. So finally, in one word, what would be your scorecard? If you want to score President Tinubu infrastructure performance so far. So on a scale of 10, what would you give Mr. President? You first.
Well, on a scale of 10, I'll give him 7 out of 10. Okay,
to you, our lecturer, you're always very selfish with marks. So if you on a scale of 10, if you want to score Mr. President,
the point is, am I even qualified to score?
No, on this program, you are qualified. Let me do it.
Let me tell you why I ask if I'm qualified to score. Now, if you ask me, okay, the infrastructure, you ask me to score the infrastructural vision.
No. We are not.
No, but that's a different thing.
Yes.
If you ask me to score the implementation, now that I will be qualified to score.
No, I'm not talking about implementation,
okay.
But what we can see is what we are talking about.
If you are talking about the infrastructural vision.
Yes, our time is fast spent. So you are becoming lecturer on this program. So answer directly, what will you score, Mr. President?
The infrastructural vision I score 8.
8 over 10. So that's
implementation, I have no score. I'm not qualified.
That's a pass mark for Mr. President.
Thank
7 from you and 10 from you.
8.
That's a beautiful 8.
I don't want to be selfish.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. Yes, our time is fast spent on the program today, so we need to go. And as we have heard today, infrastructure is more than bricks and concrete, but of course, it is about improving lives, driving economic growth, and creating opportunities for millions of Nigerians. While opinions may differ on the pace of what we are talking about today, but of course, we also need to give it to a president who has also got something on the table and is also coming out to show that this is what I can do for now. So we want to say that this is the size of the program today, and I want to appreciate my guests in the studio. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the program today. Your submission has been so insightful. Thank you so much. Yes, and that's the size of the program today on Roundtable. Join me again next week for another interesting episode. Until that time, on behalf of the entire production crew and my producer, Kule Ibikule, I want to say bye-bye till we'll meet again next week.